Let's talk about one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, most uncomfortable tools in communication: silence. We're going to explore how you can turn that awkward pause into your biggest strategic advantage in, well, pretty much any conversation.
All right, so before we can really get the power of silence, we first have to talk about the very real price we pay for not using it. Think about any high-stakes moment. Our first instinct is almost always to talk, to explain, to fill that empty space. But as you're about to see, that instinct can cost you a lot.
I mean, we've all been there, right? That feeling after a big meeting or a tough talk where you just keep replaying it in your head, thinking, oh, why did I say that? Maybe you gave away a little too much, or you sounded nervous and kind of talked yourself out of a strong position. That sinking feeling, that's the high cost of talking.
And look, this isn't just a feeling. It's practically rule number one in negotiations. When you rush to fill the silence, you often show your hand, your eagerness, your weak spots, your bottom line. You're basically giving the other person a roadmap to get what they want, not what you want.
Okay, so if talking first is a disadvantage, what's the alternative? The answer isn't about being passive, it's about being intentional. And that brings us right here, exploring the active, strategic use of the pause.
So what in the world is strategic silence? Well, it's not just awkwardly waiting for your turn to speak. Not at all. It's a deliberate choice. It is the intentional use of silence to actively steer a conversation where you want it to go. I really love this idea because it just completely flips the script. It's not an absence of words, it's a presence of mind. When you're silent, you're not checked out. You're actually more engaged. You're observing, you're processing, you're thinking. Honestly, you're more present than the person doing all the talking.
Okay, so we get what it is, but why is it so darn effective? The psychology behind this is just fascinating, and it's really the key to understanding how staying quiet can actually give you the upper hand.
So think about how silence is perceived in two totally different ways. For the person who feels pressured by it, it feels awkward, empty, just deeply uncomfortable. But for the person who is using it, the message they're sending is completely different. They're communicating confidence, control, and patience. They seem totally unshakable, which is an incredibly powerful position to be in.
So let's break down what you actually get from this. First, your silence creates this vacuum that pressures the other person to talk, and they often reveal more than they meant to. Second, while they're filling that space, it buys you precious time to think and observe. Third, you're projecting this incredible aura of confidence and control. And finally, all of this works together to unlock information you never would have gotten otherwise.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it without it just feeling weird? Let's walk through a simple, practical playbook that you can start using, like, today.
It's really just a three-step dance. First, you lead. You ask a smart, open-ended question, something that can't just be answered with a yes or no. Step two, and this is the hardest part, I'm not going to lie, you just stop. You go completely quiet. You embrace that pause, even if it feels like forever. And finally, step three. As they start talking, you listen on a whole different level. You're not just listening to their words, but to their hesitations, their tone, all the things they aren't saying.
You know, there's this old saying that just nails it. Real authority doesn't come from being the loudest person in the room. It comes from knowing exactly when to speak. And that's what silence gives you, the space and the clarity to make sure that when you do open your mouth, your words really, really count.
So let's tie all of this together. What we're talking about here isn't just some clever negotiation trick. This is a fundamental upgrade to your entire communication toolkit.
And here's what it all boils down to. When you master the art of the pause, you reclaim control. It's like a game of chess. Suddenly, you're able to see the entire board more clearly, you can make better decisions, and you position yourself as the most thoughtful, strategic person in the room. And that is a massive advantage. So, I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. The next time you're in a conversation that really matters, don't just think about what you're going to say. Instead, I want you to focus on what you can gain by saying nothing at all. What information could you uncover? What power could you claim simply by choosing not to speak?